Buenas noches, mi nombre es Alex Marrero, soy un músico. I am a musician. I have a lot of freedom, and not a day goes by that I don't think about how I got this freedom. You see, I'm able to do what I do because of sacrifice. Back in 1962, my parents left the only home they'd ever known, Cuba. They were fleeing a new regime, which is still in place, that was taking away their basic human rights. They did it so that their kids would have choices, but above all else, freedom. La tierra que me vio nacer, cuando yo te vuelva a ver. La tierra que me vio nacer, cuando yo te vuelva a ver. La tierra que me vio nacer. I wrote that song with my mom. It's about leaving Cuba. It's the story of an exile longing for their homeland, the homeland they leave for freedom. Cuando yo te vuelva a ver. Unlike most Cuban exiles of that time, they did not end up in Miami. They ended up here, Virginia. With a Cuban-born new baby boy, my brother Jose, who's here, cold, culture shock, not knowing the language, they started from zero and embarked on this unforeseen life as Cuban refugees in America, about to raise a family of 4. Well, family of 5 when they moved here, Mexico City, la Ciudad de México, la Gran Tenochtitlan. That's where I was born and raised, and just like being raised by Cuban exiles, Mexico is reflected in everything of my life. Somos la gente, buscamos libertad, ciudadanos de la tierra, con derecho a trabajar. Somos la gente, buscamos libertad. By now, my parents have fled Cuba, lived in the US, and moved to Mexico. I still didn't quite realize the richness of what they were given me. It wasn't until years later through music that I really got to some perspective on it. So now I turned 18 and I'm free to choose where I want to go back. Where did I go? Music drew me to Austin, Texas. Notice the old school skyline. I absorbed and devoured what I consider to be the truest American culture. Blues, jazz, country, folk, funk. Mostly because as a teenager in Mexico, I was into rock and roll and heavy metal. But we'll come back to that in a minute. It's kind of like looking out your window every day. It's as though not until you leave something behind that you truly learn to value and appreciate it. And that's definitely what happened to me. I studied and explored all kinds of music, but focused mostly on my Latin roots. After years of confusion that happened, I came to think that I wasn't Cuban, I wasn't Mexican, I wasn't American, but somehow I was all of these things, and it was really affecting my life until one day I just stopped and let all that bullshit go. I realized that instead of being what hinders me, it's an open road to set me free. You see, I see it every single moment in the morning time, when the weather turns to gray or if the sun makes it a day. Every drop of rain that makes the flowers blossom, say, sing your song, my son, and make that sorrow go away. My parents made it kind of their mission statement to make sure their kids were fully bilingual. My dad used to bring home newspapers in English, and he'd have me read them back to him out loud. I really believe if they would have had other choices in life, my dad would have been a professional broadcaster. Next station, Plaza Saltillo. Próxima estación, Plaza Saltillo. Did I mention I'm the voice of the Metro Rail? See, if more of you rode the Metro Rail, you would hear me telling you where you can get off in English and in Spanish. So it wasn't until years later that I after being a voiceover guy for years, that I realized what my dad had been doing with these English language newspapers. It's what exiles and immigrants do. He was giving me the tools to navigate multiple cultures. Because of things like that, I've been able to do things that he was never able to do, like be an announcer. Remember my love of heavy metal as a kid? Well, that's kind of come back around in this new project I'm involved in. It's this thing called Brown Sabbath. I'm the lead singer and frontman of this thing. We interpret Black Sabbath music, but we infuse it with traditional Latin and funk elements. It's like coming full circle for me. Like, I get to combine all the cultural elements that have come to define who I am. I get to be this bigger-than-life persona, and I got to hear Ozzy Osbourne say, "This fucking Mexican guy sounds just like me." Los sacrificios nos llevan a la libertad. Sacrifices lead us to freedom. Por eso hay exilios. Por eso hay inmigrantes. That's why there's exiles. That's why there's immigrants. We're surrounded by immigrants and exiles. We don't always realize it. Look around you. We are all immigrants. We all want freedom. Todos queremos libertad. We just want the same things. I have the freedom to do all these diverse and wonderful things with my life because of the sacrifices that my parents did, that they lived. You have freedom too. So what do you choose to do with your freedom? La tierra que me vio nacer, cuando yo te vuelva a ver. La tierra que me vio nacer, cuando yo te vuelva